Hey folks, how's it going? It's Mr. Murray coming to you with a do now for Wednesday, May 27th, 2020. And in this do now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bringing to you a little bit of practice on probability. So now, essentially, we have just finished up probability here. We've talked about theoretical probability. We've talked about conditional probability. We've talked about dependent events, independent events, and the multiplication rule. Given that, we have now wrapped that up. And again, this is kind of just like a quick flyby of probability. There's much more to that. What we're going to be doing is today in the Hangout and kind of today in general, we're going to be kind of doing a little bit of review. Hopefully it's stuff that's not too challenging. And then Thursday and Friday, we'll do our usual Google Forms assessment. I sent this out over Remind as well. Okay, so the following table shows the number of foreign and domestic cars using brand A and brand B tires. Okay, so this is a two-way frequency table. And you might remember this from Course 1 honors at the beginning of the year, so it's a long time ago. I did talk about these kinds of tables in my video when I talked about independent and dependent events. So you might want to take a look at that. So what is the probability that a randomly selected tire will be a brand A tire? What is the probability that a randomly selected car with brand A tires will be a domestic car? And what is the probability that a randomly selected foreign car will have brand B tires? Okay, so what I need you to do is I need you to pause the video. I need you to use this table, assuming it's a representative sample, and that you are choosing a tire completely randomly, and that every single possible tire you could choose has an equal probability of being chosen. Pause the video, find these three probabilities, then when you're ready, unpause, and I'll show you what I got. All right, let's see what we got. So this is a two-way frequency table. And recall that this essentially represents a random sample that we've gone out and we've taken. And this random sample is supposed to be representative of the tires in general. So if I was to go and I was to pick a tire out and I want to know a certain probability, this table really contains everything I need. So what's the probability that a randomly selected tire will be a brand A tire? So notice how it says a randomly selected tire. So there are essentially 100 tires that I could have chosen from. Of those, 38 are brand A tires. Okay, so that represents about a 38% chance. You should get in the habit of being careful and looking for how I ask you to express your final answer. If I am looking for you to write it as a percent or a decimal, I will try to make that clear. But remember, there's three ways essentially we can do it, right? A percent, a decimal, or a fraction, right? Fraction, percent, decimal. Okay? What's the probability that a randomly selected car with brand A tires will be a domestic car? So what this is saying is, if I randomly choose a car with brand A tires, what's the probability it's going to be a domestic car? So notice I need to choose a car with brand A tires. So how many cars have brand A tires? Well, we know that that is going to be 38 cars. We just figured that out. Of those 38 cars, how many of them are domestic? That's going to be 24 over 38, which is equal to 12 over 19. What you would have to do then is you would have to use a calculator to figure out what 12 over 19 is. And I'll use my calculator. So I'll plug 12 over 19 in. And I get about 63.2%. Or 0.632. So there's a 63% chance, almost a 2/3 chance, that if I choose a car with brand A tires, it's going to be a domestic car. What is the probability that a randomly selected foreign car will have brand B tires? So that is to say, if I was to choose a random foreign car, what is the probability I would find that it has brand B tires? So there are 54 possible foreign cars. So that's the sample space, the 54 foreign cars I could have chosen. Of those 54 foreign cars, 40 of them have brand B tires. So that represents 20 over 27, or about 74%. So that is to say you have an almost 3 out of 4 chance, if you choose a foreign car, that it's going to have brand B tires. So to me, that indicates that foreign cars are more likely to have brand B tires than brand A tires. The other conclusion was different. The conclusion I'm more likely to draw from 2 is that brand A tires are more likely to be found on a domestic car, but the other one says a foreign car is more likely to have brand B tires. Because if you compare it to average, well, actually, though, if you think about it, yeah, right? Because on average, foreign cars make up 54% of the total cars, right? But if you look at the total amount of brand B tires, right, they make up about 2/3 of the brand B tires. So there's lots of ways you can look at this. But the idea we want to think about is event space, sample space. What do we want? What is possible that we could possibly choose from? Okay, because this is how we really start to begin our probability review. Question one was more of a theoretical probability. You take all the brand A tires and divide by the total tires you could have chosen from. Whereas questions 2 and 3 were conditional probability problems, right? In which, in the second one, the probability was conditioned on having brand A tires. That is the probability of a domestic car given brand A tires, whereas problem 3 was conditioned on it being a foreign car. That is, what is the probability of brand B tires given we're using a foreign car? So please make sure you do look out for the probability review materials today. Make sure you're ready to ask any questions at our Hangout. Best of luck. Keep up the great work, and I'll see you soon. Have a great one.